Hi there, I am Dory and welcome to my channel. I'm here at Prairie Scraps. Hi, good morning, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Oh my goodness, things have been so busy around here. And I know it looks like I'm crammed in here. It's because I've got this great big, I think it's a queen size blanket. I don't know if you guys remember these. These were the old vintage. Oh, I forgot what they're called. If you know, pop it in below. Help me out. Help a girl out. All right. If you could also help me out by making sure that you follow and like and, give me a little love out there, that would be phenomenal. I really appreciate you coming on in. We are here on YouTube and Facebook. My name is Dory, and we're with Prairie Scraps, and we're going to do some recycled fabric pumpkins today, and I'm going to use some of this vintage fabric. Don't worry, no. Why can't I think of the name of this kind? Anyway, I'm gonna have to look it up. If you want to know, put a question mark down below, and I'll help you out with that. But I found it at a thrift sale or a thrift store. I saved it. It's got some holes in it. I've had it forever and ever. I've made stockings out of it. I've made all kinds of things out of it. I still have just a very ton of it left. It's got I can't remember what this stuff. Oh, it's gonna drive me crazy. All right, well, we'll put that on hold. But anyway, we're gonna make pumpkins out of that. But first, I'll show you what we're going to be making. Aren't these cute? I love making these little pumpkins. They are so fun, and you can use any fabric. You don't have to have this vintage kind. You could grab vintage doilies, whatever. I had to trim my crab apple tree. Isn't this the cutest? It just, it ends up however. I just love these little white pumpkins. And you can use lots of different things. I actually have some like red velvet fabric somewhere that I've been hoarding for years and years and years. I can't find it, but one of these days I'm going to make pumpkins out of it. I've also got some other colors here to make some. And I just find the different things to use for these pumpkins. The stems could be anything, but I trimmed my crabapple tree. I just have 3 left, so we'll make 3 today. I also have some little like wooden pegs. These are really cute too. These came off like one of those like um what do you want to say, like one of those mug holders that go on the wall, those wooden ones. We had a great big giant one that was in the closet of one of our bathrooms when we took the bathroom apart. And so I was like, oh my gosh, my husband's gonna throw it away. And I was like, no, there's really good stuff. Could you get me those little pegs offs? Because I could see those being little stems for my pumpkins. But you could buy wood pieces from wherever. But first, I want to make, because I kind of made these up this last week for the farmer's market really quick right before I left, and I didn't have time to make some tags. I'm going to make some tags for these just to add a little extra something. What I did, and this is recycled as well, what I did was I used paper bags. Now, if you don't have paper grocery bags, I don't know how to help you. Maybe Dollar Tree, get the roll of brown paper, round paper, and that would work as well. And I just used a tag maker that I had, or you could cut it out in your Cricut if you want. I think it's easier for the tag maker because you can use whatever. But this is the one, I like this size the best for doing crafts because I can get my transfers on here, as well as I can get whatever I want. It just is a little bit bigger. I also made some, so the Creative Memories, that was the Creative Memories tag maker that from years and years and years ago. I'm a hoarder of all craft things. Raise your hand if you are a hoarder of all craft things. I also have this teeny tiny little one, but these, I started cutting these out, and I'm like, these, although they would look really cute on the pumpkins, are too tiny to get anything put on it really. So those aren't going to be the ones. So today what I'm going to do is, first of all, make the tags so they have a little bit of time to dry. So I'm going to put you down so you can see that. You can see I've got all kinds of supplies to get going with this. And because I want to make 3 more at least tags, and then look at this. Sometimes when the paper, like I can't even bear to throw a little bit of the grocery bag away. I just, it doesn't always go through the punch very well, so I just figure I'll take a scissors to it. Doesn't matter if they're a little scrawny or weird looking or wonky. It's totally okay because we want these to look a little bit weathered anyway. And I'm going to start out with just using some surface wax on these so that they don't stick to my transfer paper. You can use transfers on paper and chalk paste, but it does stick more because it's porous, just like wood is. I always say use wax with wood, use it with paper, you know, anything like wood that's porous. So this just kind of closes up the pores a little bit, makes it a little more rough, smooth, makes it not stick so bad to my transfers. Hopefully I don't overdo it here in the wax department. So I think I'm going to do both sides just in case I forget which side I waxed. This one, some of the backs, you know, they'll have, like this is ripped. I could tell this was like an edge. Sometimes the back will also, you know, it's okay. It's okay. Sometimes the back, I'll have like little bits of advertisement still stuck on there, but I think that just gives it a little bit of extra charm for our pumpkins. So there we go, a little bit of surface wax, easy peasy, nothing too much here. Okay, so I've got a couple of old transfers. I just use and use and use my transfers to death, especially fall. I love the fall stuff, so cute. But I think I'm going to start with this Pumpkin Kisses and Harvest Wishes. This is off of, geez, what year? I don't even know. Okay, here we go. 2022, our autumn tiered tray. So this was a tiered tray one, but I have used the whatevers out of this particular one. I think this will fit on this little tag. And I'm just going to do pumpkin. I'm going to do it at you know, sideways because it won't go the other way. And we're just going to go like this. And I think I don't want to use that bright. I don't know. Will that work? I was actually kind of just thinking about using, well, you guys know my predicament with the browns. I'm like almost out of brown. I need to put an order in just for pace. The one thing I do like about our new transfers is that you could totally see through, like to make sure that you're centering on the paper. So I'm just kind of holding it up to the light here so that I make sure. Seems kind of shadowy here. Make sure that I'm kind of in the center, but like I said, it's not a big deal if it's not. And I'm just going to take my tool for this. You can see that I left a little bit of water in here to try to loosen up some of this paste in here. We want to use every last little bit as much as we possibly can. Even the hard bits, they will reconstitute with a little bit of water. So before I close them up, especially in the summertime, I like to just add a little spritz of water. This one it's actually quite generous. But this is, you want it to be yogurt consistency to use it. Ooh, splat. I used a little, that was a little crazy. So I'm just going to use this really quickly. We don't want to over rub too much. And you know what? If I ruin it, it's okay, because, you know, we're just using something that would have been used like for trash maybe. Okay, that is a little sloppy. Okay, let's see if that worked. Not too bad. I'm gonna try not to touch that. So I didn't really hit the middle very well, and that kind of oversprayed a little bit. By that I mean it kind of like it went over the top a little bit. So I'm going to try a little better to get that. I'm looking at this hole. So I'm going to try to do the Harvest Wishes here and pick up some of this. Use every little bit, right? And do the Harvest Wishes. I don't want to over rub because my transfer, because it's so old and has been really used, I've probably used this more than 25 times. Oops, that one didn't turn out so wonderful. I might dab at that a little bit, see if I can fix it, or we will just start over. Let's see. Get some wipes out here. Sorry for kind of the mess, but I promise it'll be worth it. Oh my goodness, you guys, making a mess. I guess if you're not making a mess, you're not having too much fun. So if you're coming on in, I'm just gonna dab at this a little bit and see if I can't lift some of that excess off, especially where it's kind of messy. Because, you know, I like to use everything. I don't know, that was pretty messy. All right, I'm gonna set that aside. I don't know what I think about that. We're gonna do, see it, I wonder if pumpkins will fit on here. I'm not sure it will. It maybe will. I'm gonna try. Again, I'm just gonna hold and I'm gonna go, see, I'm gonna hold my fingers down on it. I need some thick stuff here. I'll go like that. There we go. Try not to use too much. Pumpkins, yay, that one worked. I guess I could have done pumpkin without the S even. And I'm gonna use the word fresh. I'm gonna dry this before I do the next step. Make sure it's good and dry. We don't want it to smear too much. And like I said, it is totally fine if we find that this smears a little bit. I'm not going for perfection. We just want it to kind of look like a little charming rustic pumpkin. I'm gonna put the fresh above it here. Press where the fresh is. Oops, that looks crooked to me. Thankfully, these are kind of centered. These are centered on the transfers wherever you cut them even. And so it's kind of easy to figure out whether they're going straight or not. Doesn't mean I'm always on. Okay. This is the week before fair. Oh my goodness. This is the busy week. And it is the week that all the fall sports start their practices. So this morning, Bethany had, oh, that turned out just amazing. I'm excited about that. You could also use stamps if you wanted, but I don't like to sit and place stamps. I always make crooked things. I'm really bad that way. Let's see. Maybe we'll do a couple pumpkins here on the bottom. It kind of looks ripped on the bottom. We will do right there. A couple little pumpkins on the bottom. I'm just gonna clean this off and then use it for this other. It's just handy. This one kind of gets in the small places. The other thing you can do is cut one of the mini squeegees in half, and that will kind of give you a smaller one. We're going to use marmalade. I think this was last. Actually, I really think I shouldn't think so much maybe. Oh, I see why I'm crowded out here. I'm just going to use. Oh my goodness, I have two different marmalades. One's dark and one's light. I think this was the color of the month last month. And then the dark one was from the past. Let's see. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. They are so different. But I'm going to use the one I have open for this little pumpkins down here. Not the pumpkins have to be orange, but you know. See that? That was cute. We'll set that there, let it dry. Maybe we'll go on, since that one turned out so nicely, let's go ahead and get some more pumpkins on here. Keep doing pumpkins, at least for two. We'll see. Let's see how this turns out. Oops. Well, my messy fingers. Ooh, that one turned out really messy. Oh well. Okay, done with pumpkins. Done with pumpkins, because once it starts smearing, it never gets better. The cool thing is because I put that wax on there, it is kind of easy. You can usually get things, ooh, orange stains. I'm not gonna lie. Orange has got strong pigments in it, so whatever you get it on, it's going to stain. So try to get that off right away. Okay, I am just gonna clean up the side of that pumpkin. See if I can't clean it up a little bit. A little wipe, and maybe call it good. There. Okay. There was another transfer I had that had a little pumpkin on it, and I've used this as I Love You More Than Pumpkin Anything. This is a 2021 transfer, and oh goodness, somebody did it on the wrong side. Shoot. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Zoot galore. Watch it. If you are, because you're supposed to put it on the shiny side and not the dull side. Somebody put this on the wrong side. So if that ever happens to you, you can soak it under water. I have actually wrecked my first transfer this way. All right, I'm going to just use this little pumpkin right here. And I'm not going to worry about his little stem being orange or anything. I am just going to do the stem and all in orange. It's just so little. You could sit and paint it if you wanted with a paintbrush, or sit and try to get it on with a tool. But I'm doing the fast and easy way today, I guess. Let's see. I don't think they're too bad. I think you get the idea. All right, so I'm going to turn this over, put it back on the backing, and then we are going to try to find some other words to put on these so that we can decorate them up a little bit. This one's right here is dry. That orange is actually working out really nicely. I kind of like it. Although everything for fall does not have to be orange, that's for sure. You can do whatever color. I really like the brown this year, so I need to get some in so I can get going on my brown again. The espresso is my favorite color. That's what we're using here. I'm just going to use that. And as you can see, this little one says fall candles, and I probably haven't used the candles hardly ever. I'm just going to try to hold it here really good and not over rub, because my espresso has a lot of, not too bad. That worked out pretty good, actually. Oops. Got a little bit of brown there on the edge. Is that cute? Be super simple. Super simple. And I see that I got my fingerprint again over here, so I'm just gonna take it off. And we can make these a little more like rustic looking. I'm just gonna rub towards, oops, that added orange. Not good. I'm just gonna dot this so that I maybe can pick up. Sometimes it seems like the paste knows where to go. So if you can either rub it towards where you want it or towards the other paste, it often cleans itself up. It just sort of pools to the right place. Okay. Now I'm thinking about doing, see if I can do one more of those falls. I don't know why that, it seems like I didn't get the whole L on that fall. So let's see if we can do it. And wherever you set it down and rub your finger through, that is where you're going to be marking. So you want to just kind of stick with it. That's the place. Wipe your fingers. Yeah, that rest of that L, it just doesn't seem to be clean. But it doesn't look too bad. You get the idea, right? Let me show you that. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you today. So glad you joined in. Just trying to make some little rustic tags to put on our, let's do autumn. I do this one a lot too. This is another one that I've used a lot. This is just a perfect size to go sideways with. Let's see if we got that. Yes, we did. That was nice. Very good. I just did one swipe. If you can get it all in one swipe, that works out really good if you have some runny paste. Oh, you're good. We aren't too far yet. We're just making some tags, trying to decorate up here our little, ooh, I might put some little leaves here, I think. I am just gonna put some orange leaves, I think. On here. This color I'm using is marmalade, but this was a new marmalade that came, but it looks like hay pumpkin to me. I actually, when I got it, it was, I think it was last month's color of the month. I think this was the orange, the marmalade that came out last year. They're totally different, which is sort of surprising, actually. It's maybe a little set of leaves here. Think about just doing it on the top of the harvest here. These are really kind of tiny. They were from Tiered Tray, 2022, I think I said. They were autumn tiered tray. So I'm just making these all orange. You could do a little hot mess if you wanted and put a couple colors in there, but we're just keeping it simple. So that dress it up a little bit of leaves on there. Don't have anything for the fresh pumpkins, I don't think. Pumpkin kisses. All right. And that one got a little smeary too. I'm gonna get rid of this because I seem to be spreading. Let me get the orange cleared off here. Okay, so we've got these tags kind of made, and I'm just gonna take a little bit of the brown again, the espresso, and I'm gonna take a dry brush and dry brush. So I just kind of ducked it in there. Now on the lid, we'll see if we can just get the edges. So we don't want it to look, in fact, I kind of want it to be crumpled up. The words are from Autumn. It's called Autumn Tiered Tray. They were in 2022. They're kind of an old one, but if you kind of watch, I won't lie, every once in a while they come out with it. So I'm just kind of dry brushing around the edges, and this is trying to make them look old. You could also coffee stain them. I don't know if you can see that. It's very light. It's not kind of, okay, not hardly even making anything here. Just on the edge. That's working. Just want it to kind of look like a dirty tag, right? I maybe would have done better to just do this before I started. You could also kind of spritz it with coffee, like put coffee in a little bit of water, and this is too a good way to use up your paste. Make sure you use all the paste you've got. I don't know if you can see that. So that kind of just did a little extra. And then I'm excited about this. This is making me excited. I love making these kind of, oops, we did a little, just want them to not look so new. I'm just gonna scrunch them up, make them not look so new. This one, I think, if I kind of do the brown over the orange, it's gonna give it a little more depth too, so that's kind of cute. Quick and easy way of making it dirty. You could do these ahead of time, not wait till you do all the paste on it. But it does, oops, I forgot to offload it. Oops. This one's a little darker than the rest, I guess. I'm even hitting up my pumpkins a little bit, getting those edges. That way, I'm going to take my new wipe and sort of take off some of that edge because I went too heavy there. I don't want it to look like it was paintbrushed on. So yeah, this was the tiered pumpkin, autumn tiered offload, Dory. Don't go crazy until you get some of it off. Don't go too thick, but you could go thick too. I mean, there's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm just trying to make it look a little bit old. I don't know if you can see that. Show you that. Just adding a little bit of roughness around the edges, rustic, making rustic looking little tags. And this is a bigger size tag, and I did that on purpose because I knew that my letters, oops. You could also splatter paint it if you wanted with a little bit. I'm not going that far. That's messy that's too messy for me. All right, so we got 6 of those made. And get this shut up. These kind of out of the way. Oops. Get my transfer. Thankfully that transfer didn't get too destroyed by being put on there backwards. Can't believe that was on there backwards. Okay, I got to get the brown off. And then we are going to make our recycled fabric pumpkins really quick. And you're okay, Kathy. You can always go back and watch too. I love that. Not everybody can watch, and I've been pretty sporadic. Summer is coming to an end, and I will figure out my schedule in the fall and be more transparent about when I'll be on. All right, so to show you what we're going to do with those tags, I've got a little package here that I keep some goodies in. Oops, almost losing my goodies. I've got these little, and so this is our little vintage fabric pumpkin that I made. And I'm trying to find, there is a seam, so we don't want to do it on the seam side. And so what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to use a little pin, safety pin that's kind of rusty. Do you see these? I ordered these on, if you want the link, just let me know. I can get you the link. I think I ordered them on Amazon, but I will look back on my stuff and let you know. I'm just going to use this little pin to put it onto my pumpkin like that. It just adds a little extra. We've got some little, I guess I didn't need, maybe I should have, since I've got the yellow on there, I'm rethinking that. I think I'm going to do the one that I didn't put any orange on, the fresh pumpkins. Changing my mind. It's all your own opinion, what you want. You may not do it the same. You may do something a little bit different, but super sweet. And then I will have these. Interested, let me know in these, because on Thursday I will be taking these to the farmer's market. But if I sell out, I sell out, right? Okay, we're going to need some hot glue going here for this project. So I need to get my little hot glue gun going. And the reason I'm thinking about that is because I need to kind of tack that down too. I got these ready this last week for our farmer's market, and then it poured rain, just poured, like discouragingly so. It was awful. So that's what we're shooting for. I will show you here how I do these pumpkins. And I actually kind of, oops, I just dropped paste. Is raining paste? Oh my goodness. I've got so much fabric here. So, oh, I'm going to use this. I've got this red fabric. This is the end. I made some Christmas pillows out of this. It was like a, I'm going to try right here. I kind of look for a square. You got to kind of imagine that it's going to be out. And so we're just going to give this a try. I know that this makes a great big mess. I'm going to turn it inside out. And I'm just going to lightly sew. So I've got kind of a big needle. And then I've got two different threads here. These are, I found them at the thrift store. Sometimes I find them for like anywhere from 10 cents at our thrift store to $1. And I can't stand it. I can't leave it there. In fact, somewhere in my, probably in my, I need to get my fall basket out. Because my fall bins out, because I know I have some bright orange ones that I've wanted to make into pumpkins as well, because it's such a bright orange color, you'd never use it for anything. So anyway, I'm taking a big piece of string of this out, and I'm going to just put a knot in the end. I wrap it around my finger. I don't know if you could see that. And then I run my needle through a couple of times to get my knot put in. 2 or 3. I like to do knots with 3 at the end. I don't know, for safekeeping, they just seem to be a little bit bigger. And then I am going to sew up this other side here. And this is like super easy peasy sewing. We're not doing anything fancy. I'm just weaving it in and out, in and out. And I want to stay away from that rough edge, because I have found that if you don't get it far enough away from that rough edge will pop out on your pumpkin. So you just want to give it like half an inch to an inch seam allowance, as they would say in the sewing world. And I actually am taking super big stitches, so nothing complicated, nothing neat. And then I did find that I kind of like to go back in between my stitches. It's just easier to do these big ones. I suppose I could take smaller stitches, pull it through. And this one, we're not going to make it, this particular stitch, we're just trying to sew up the side. So don't worry about pulling this. You don't want to have any like tension pulled on this. So then that gets me back to this original piece where my knot is, and I'm just going to knot onto that one, because this is all going to be on the inside. So again, I'm just holding on to one end. If you're not familiar with making knots, I just hold on to one end, run my string through. There's the single knot. This time I'm going to run it through a couple times before I pull it tight, so that it's more of a tied knot. There we go. Get it nice and tight, and then I will cut this off. Doesn't have to be super, you don't want to cut close to the knot because you want to give it a little give. Okay, so this is kind of the fun part. You want to turn it right side out, and this might actually look like, I'm trying to see what I got for tags. I maybe need apples. This might look like a little apple, but I'm trying to make a pumpkin, so I guess it could be whatever you want it to be. And because it's so red, right? But red is good. And this is just like leftover chunks of fabric. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go, actually, I'm going to grab the end and put a knot on it first. And you can see I'm getting orange fuzz everywhere. Just go through here. I like to go 3 times. You can do 2 or 4. And then I'm just going to go back and forth again, all the way along the edge. Hope you can see this here. Back and forth. There we go. It's a better angle. And I'm going to go this time. I'm not doing both both. I'm just going around the single edge. I'm not sewing anything down this time. This time I'm gathering up that top edge so that I can stuff it in. And so this one's probably going to be a little square. Usually I do the same thing at the bottom and tuck it inside and gather it up. And you'll see just a minute here what I mean by that. You're not a sewer, you maybe don't know what I mean by gather, but gathering means you're going to tighten it down and kind of make it all ruffled. Rough around the edges, yes. You gotta go, I don't know, I like the look of it, and when it's rough around the edges. All right, so we're back to where we started, and I am just gonna pull on this to just sort of get a ruffled edge, kind of make a little bag out of this, right? But first, before we get too far, that's what we're gonna do to make our pumpkin at the top. But before we get too far on that, and this is it for sewing. That's all you need. You could probably, I don't know, I think it's easiest to do it this way. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take recycled bags. You know, this is from my favorite craft store. And I'm going to make sure that well, it doesn't matter on this one if the red is showing. But when I do the white ones, I want to make sure that the red is not showing. I like to put the bag in the bottom for the bottom filler. Why? Because filling is expensive and this is free. And two, it kind of makes a nice little squeaky base. You know, so like, I don't know, it's fun. It's kind of what's in dog toys and what's in those baby scrunchy toys. Then we're going to take some stuffing and fill it the rest of the way as much as you want. I don't like to go too far with the stuffing because remember, we got to still pull in this top yet and get it in there. So this is going to be square on the bottom, whereas my other ones, and I'm actually kind of thinking about it, maybe not making it. I think it's okay to be a square pumpkin, don't you? Oops, got our tag back here. And this is actually my stuffing. Have you ever had like a pillow that kind of went dead or whatever, is, you know, and still pretty clean, you've kept it clean or whatever? You can totally recycle the filling in pillows, or you can buy the cheap Walmart pillows and use the stuffing inside. So this was like, can't remember, something, oh, a blanket, a quilt actually fell apart, and that's what the stuffing is from. I've had it like in a, keeping it in a bag, keeping it clean. All right, so we are going to now pull on those, and like you can see, I think you can see, I didn't go too far so that we don't have stuffing out here. And when I pull this, I'm actually pulling my knotted end, and the reason for that is it just gives me a little bit to grip onto. And as I'm doing that, I'm just sort of bringing it in and pushing that top stitching in, because we don't want it to stick out. We don't want any rough, even though this is rough. And I'm going to sit and tie another knot. I'm putting it through twice, and that's a surgeon's knot, twice through the same place. And so wherever you put it, it pretty much holds. You do want to knot it off and finish it off that way. So I'll knot it again twice through, get it nice and firm on there. If you pull too hard, you will break the string. Ask me how I know. Now again, I'm just going to clip it off, but I'm leaving tails because I don't want them to fall apart because I cut too close to the knot. And so there's still like a little hole up here in the top, and that is where we are going to put our little stem in. And see how mine's kind of square? It's okay. I actually kind of, isn't that cute? Oh my gosh. My husband's going to be so proud of me. I'm going to use my hot glue gun. This is the part where we hot glue and try not to hurt ourselves. You can hot glue these edges if you like, but honestly, I think it looks far better if you sew it and get that gather together, because, and you could do the side. I did one with the side glue gunned and decided, you know what, I've got the needle out, I can just sew up that side really quick. So my hot glue gun so hot. That's going to hold it nicely. And we are going to, should I put pumpkin on there? We're going to take our little cute rusty pins and pin that on there. And I also have little rusty jingle bells. You could put a little rusty jingle bell on here with your rusty pin. Kind of like doing that too sometimes. And I think we'll just kind of keep this with the red and the browns and use a little bit of twine. Oh, this was the other thing that I was doing that I thought really kind of, so if you're worried about like how this little top looks right here, this one looks pretty good. But if you like accidentally get some of the glue kind of showing, you can shove in a little. I was finding that if I took the stick and wrapped it a little bit with twine before I glued it in there, it like made the cutest little, I'm just gonna tie a little bow here and see how that looks. I think that'll be cute. Just like that. Yes, I've probably tied about a million bows, so I'm pretty quick at it. All right, I think that just looks really cute and sweet. I'll cut this, turn that a little bit. There we go. Isn't that the cutest? Pumpkin Kisses. I just think it is the sweetest little pumpkin, or I guess it kind of looks like an apple. So if you have an apple theme, you could definitely use that too. So all like recycled materials, the stuffing, the fabric is recycled. This is from a wall hanging I had, and I just want to be sure we get this good and glued down there. We don't want it coming apart. You saw I'm using my scissors for this instead of my fingers. If you get too much glue on fabric, sometimes you can kind of snip it off. Like this is kind of puffy. I don't know. I think they're adorable. This one, like I said, I was concerned for this little bow. It wasn't really setting right. So I was gonna, you could see here, I used twine around the base of this string or this stick before I put it in. That just give it a little bit of extra there to hold on to. And so what I'm going to do is just put a little dot of hot glue here on the stick and then slide that ribbon down on top of it so that it'll stay down, because I see it's kind of sliding around. And that's all. You just don't want your project to fall apart. Is that the cutest? Oh my gosh. Love that. And then this too, you can actually tack it down if you want, but I may just mess with it a little bit until it comes out. Isn't that cute? So easy, so quick. I just love it. Okay, so to show you this, so that worked out pretty good. That was just like an end of a piece of, like, it was a pillow cover that was way out of style. I took it, cut it down, and then put a Christmas patch on it, and have it in my fabric things, or have it in my, so I could do another little one here. I think it looks almost too apple-y for me. So we can do another one out of these. Oh, it's Chanel. I came up with it. See, if you stick around enough, I will come up with the name of what this is. I could not think of it for the life of me. So I don't know if you could see this, but there are little holes in it. There, don't be mad at me for cutting up this vintage Chanel blanket, because it was in rough shape, and I just, for my projects, I sort of cut around. And you could do any size pumpkin you would like. You don't have to do sizes I'm doing at all. I'm just kind of randomly cutting off squares. And the other thing you could do is cut off circles, and that would work as well. If you cut a great big circle like around a plate or a platter just to measure it out, same thing. Then you just run a running stitch all the way around the circle, and that will make this as well. Oh my goodness, I almost lost my needle. Okay, so same thing. I turn it, I try to figure out which is the right side and the wrong side. This Chanel is a little more difficult. I think one side is a little less puffy than the other side. And I'm going to, I think I need a longer piece of string, so I'm going to start with a new one. Somebody commented the other day that they would sit and try to thread the needle forever and ever if they were trying to do this project with, or like embroidery project that I was working on. I don't know where the end of my white string went. And I think a little bit of patience. I have carpal tunnel pretty bad, and I can still thankfully thread them, but there is also a little needle threader, but this is a bigger needle with a bigger hole on it, so I'm just making it easier on myself that way. I'm going to do a nice long piece, get our knot in the end. The reason you don't necessarily need the knot, but it's nice to have the knot, because if you pull too hard on the end and pull it through, you'll be frustrated. So it's just quicker and easier to just make a little knot. Well, or a big knot, just depends. Let's see where this comes out here. Oh, it's not even going to pull. I do not like the knot I made. That one's not pretty at all. I don't know what I did. I looped it back. All right, so we're going to trim this around here and just use the knot that came out of that. I do not like that knot. All right, so we're just going to see if some of this will come out of it. Sure enough, putting that away. Sometimes if strings are long enough, like I'll take this little piece and I'll put that into something, use it, whatever. Okay, we're going to go this way, but the little ones, I just kind of get rid of. It doesn't have to be perfect square. It's okay. Don't worry about perfection. Sometimes the most beautiful things are not perfect. Trying to deadhead and trim, but it's one, oh, ugh. Wait until evening at least, I say, Kathy. Yeah, that is hot. We are having a heat advisory here as well, so I am sitting in my little camper. The reason I look kind of crowded is because I'm sitting with this big queen Chanel bedspread, now that I know what it's called. Hello, what time is it? Okay. No, I will go with you. Thank you. I will go with you. I will be done in a few minutes. It's 2 to 7. Plenty of time. She left the door open. So anyway, in my little camper here with my big Chanel. Now this is the side seam that I'm doing, and so I don't want any pucker in that. This is going to be a taller pumpkin, and I'm going to go back over it again. I'm just going to do the stitch in the same place, but actually kind of try to hit between the stitches I did. Because this is so kind of puffy and thick, it's easier to like go through it twice than to try to get small stitches. If you wanted to do small stitches, you could do that. But for me, hurry. I'm just trying to get this done. Appreciate my girls' patience. Or not. All the fair stuff is coming to head. All the record books, they have a record book meeting today. It's like 2 o'clock until 7 o'clock. Not looking too forward to going to the Eagles Club for that. It's too hot. Like you said, it's too hot. I don't want to be in a building with no air conditioning. I hope they have air. I doubt it though. Okay, so since I'm here, instead of tying it off, so I've got my, well, probably should tie it off a little bit. I'm going to tie it off. I'm going to put a knot here. because my other knot is not so good, ha ha ha, I'm just going to put a knot right here so that I have a place. And then what I'm going to do is turn it right side out so that that seam is on the inside. So you've just made a seam if you've not done any sewing, right? I think my grandma had one of these. And I just recently, I was kind of looking, so I'm just going to do another gathering stitch along this circle, not putting it together. You can make it square and just do the seam if you wanted to, but I'm going to do a gathering stitch, which means we're going to ruffle it, pull it tight, and kind of ruffle it up along the edge here. And this will be on the inside, actually on both ends, but this will be like the bottom. And then we'll fill it. But yeah, my grandma had one of those metal beds, a white metal bed with this white bedspread on it. Oh my gosh, loved it. I don't know why. It's kind of comforting too to have the little pumpkins out of it. And I've made, I have sewn Christmas stockings with them too. I just love the Chanel. This bedspread has definitely gotten lots of projects. It's not dead. You know, I think it's sometimes hard when you grab something vintage like this to, I think I'm gonna, stick this through the center and gather it through the center. Ooh, what did I do? I grabbed the wrong one. Sometimes you are a little heartsick, like using something that, you know, I'm going to try to do it from the inside instead of the outside. I did that prematurely. I'm going to turn it back inside out and just gather that like that. And see how it kind of just makes like a little sack top here. And to kind of firm it up, I'm going to need my stitching, my needle again. I accidentally pulled it off. Use some DNA and run it through here. Oops. Get it all, yep. I just kind of reinforced it by running the string around there. And then what I'm going to do is just go underneath that string and then come through, and again just keep going through that loop a couple of times to make a little knot. There we go, and that pulls it down. And I might do that again just to be sure. Sometimes when I'm embroidering, I will do the same thing. I will knot it a couple of times through, run it through a couple of times because I don't want it to fall apart on me. All right, and then we'll snip, not too close, and turn it inside out. I've got little red fuzz everywhere. I knew that was going to happen. So see, that is going to be the bottom of our pumpkin. And we are going to grab a bag. I tried to grab white bags, and then I try to turn it so that it's all white on the outside when I put it inside, or as much white as possible so that it doesn't show through. Where else did I have some? Right here. Boy, these have a lot of writing on them. If you don't live in an area that gives you bags, I'm really sorry. You have lots of projects that you can't do with them. Use another one. And I just keep turning it until I've got all white on the outside. I just don't want it to be like blue or red coming through. All right, so that's our bottom of our pumpkin. And this one's pretty hefty here. We'll grab some of this. Up a little bit here. Stuffing. I do like to separate it out a little. It kind of comes bunched up, so if you give it a little more air, break it up a little. I should have had her take my transfers and wash them while we're playing around here. This one I'm going to use a stick, and I'll show you how I use that twine. So it's going to be a nice, tall, skinny one. I like the fat squatty ones, the tall skinny ones. I like them all. Pumpkins are so much fun. Yeah, this was like out of a bedspread. It was such beautiful stuffing, and I don't know, it just like went through the laundry once and fell totally apart. So we rescued it. I rescued it. My husband's like, that can be pitched away. I'm like, no, it's good stuffing. I can use that. So needless to say, I'm actually getting towards the end of my, this is not enough string again. I'm getting towards the end of my bag. I had a great big garbage bag full of it. Oops, got a knot here. Sometimes this, when the string is older, because I get it at thrift stores, so I don't really know. Sometimes it's not great quality, or it's kind of pulling apart because it is a cotton string. I love using this for tying on tags too. Like on my little gnomes, I'll use this string to tie like little ties on, like little bows, things like that. Here we go, string it on. And yes, I mean, I just do a lot of embroidery, so that's why I can like make knots and string it so quickly. And I'm generally, even if I can't really see it very well, I'm pretty good at getting it in. But like I said, if you get one of those, it's under $2 at the craft stores. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go around the outside edge. I always like to just start at my seam, because then I know where my knot started, where I started, and that's where I'm going to shoot for finishing. So we're just going to go around the outside and make a gathering stitch. Gathering stitch means they're bigger stitches that you can pull. Make sure I'm not dribbling hot glue on my computer here. I'm so glad that everything is working technically today. Make sure you say hello and check out everything for me. I am a small business person. I like to make crafty things. Try to give you some crafty ideas. These are so fun and easy. You could totally, you know, sit in front of the TV and do this, except for the hot glue gun part. I like to stitch in front of the TV at night when I'm ready to kind of just kind of have a downtime in the evening. All right, so remember I had that stitch there. I like to just grab that and use both ends, and then I just keep stuffing, get that rough edge put down inside of it. And I've also found that if you kind of cross the strings, instead of pulling apart, it doesn't pull your stitching apart either. Sometimes they break because you're pulling opposite, but if you kind of cross it to do it, there we go. That's a nice top there. Let's get this on here. What do you think? Do you love them? Love to hear what you think. And if you're coming on watching the replay, put hashtag replay. I appreciate it. We'll just do one more knot just for the safety of it, and then I'm going to cut that off. And you can see I've got kind of a little strings, and that I'm just going to tuck inside. And then we are going to take one of our strings, and this is, oops, use a little twine. We're going to use some twine. And what I did to, and I don't know, I look for character on my sticks as well. I like how that cuts at the top there. It just has like an angled cut. I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue here. And it doesn't matter that the end isn't perfect, because we're going to shove that down inside. So it's okay. This is just going to give our stick a little substance when we stick it in. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just wrapping that around to give it a little bit of something at the bottom to grip on. And it also kind of fills up that hole, so when I stick my hot glue in there, it's not a big deal. And then I'm just going to put another piece of hot glue here, and you can see how hot that is. Run my, oops, I undid my twine, oops. Run my twine through it and try to hold it there. have some patience without burning myself. That's hard for me to do. Okay. So that's what I've got. I've kind of got like a little, have you seen those little honey sticks? You know what I mean? Like that you pick up honey with. That's kind of what it reminds me of, is a little honey stick. And it just is, that end part's going to be stuck down into the top of my pumpkin. Get it to sit here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of coat the bottom section of this with some hot glue, and then I'm going to stick it down in there, and hopefully I can coax that little end to go down too. And see what that does? It just kind of gives it a little extra grip. There is no way that's going to come out, and I don't have any dribbles either around the edges, which sometimes if you just put the stick in without that twine there, this just, it kind of hides all the stuff. So let's get a little bow around here. I love me some jute twine in the fall. I don't know about you guys. Just love it. Doesn't have to be super fancy. You can add little scraps of fabric. You can add little scraps of ribbon. So we've got a little bit of twine bow. So it actually, because I put it there right over that, it kind of looks like that's what I used. I'm going to do some of this. I think this will work. Maybe not. I think I decided last time that was way too thick. But I do have some. These are my sparkly bits. The other thing you could do, or my ribbon jumble. If you haven't seen my post about my ribbon jumble, check it out. I just kind of just keep all the ends and stuff like that for such a time as this. You could do, I don't know, I think it needs a little bit more. I just don't know what. Maybe this. Ooh, this one's good. So these are just like ribbon ends that didn't work out for whatever reason in my project. And I kind of like just the ribbon on here in a little knot. I don't know why. And then I just cut it at an angle. This is nice because you don't have to. This is off of like sheets that my daughter got for college. She left a ribbon around and I took it. Nothing is sacred if you leave it in my presence. So again, I don't know if you saw that last one. I kind of just put a little bit of a dot of glue on the back, pulled it down over the top of it so that it sticks there and doesn't get lost. Pull out my little bows. There we go. And we'll take, oops, I guess this got kind of turned. There we go. I don't want the seam. See, that's the seam I sewed right there. I want that on the back. So I'm just trying to put the bow here. We'll grab maybe a little bit bigger pin. For this one, so that it really kind of shows up there and is actual kind of a decoration through our little tag. And really, I do think the tag makes it. What do you guys think? The tag is all of it, if you ask me. I just love it. That tag just adds a whole bunch. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It was a little long, but I wanted to show you what I was up to. Hi, Deb. Make sure you, and Jessica and Kathy, good to see you. Go back and watch the beginning so you can see how we put these cute little pumpkins with their cute little tags, rusty tags on there. I just think they're so adorable. Here's the, well, there's the one I did before. I like to have them in sets of 3 myself. So there you go. Isn't that the cutest? Oh my goodness. So cute. So cute. All right. Have a very blessed day and make sure you keep on crafting.